So what we're going to cover in this video is a look at the updated interface for SharePoint Document Libraries. So as you see, we've got a SharePoint Document Library here. You'll see the layout is a menu bar across the top. We do have some options here on the right, including this details pane. In the middle, we have obviously our documents which we've uploaded. And again, what we can start with is if we want to edit any of these documents, we can simply click on the document. It will then open it in Word Online or Excel Online, Office Online, provided that obviously it's a Microsoft Office document. We can then go in this case, we're going to edit it in a browser. You'll see that we get the familiar ribbon across the top. So again, what I could do is go in here and, for example, bold a cell. We'll see that what's happening in the background is that it's saving it for us automatically, so we can move back to our document library at any point. If I want to, again, I can edit this directly in Excel on the desktop and the updates will be saved. I can also co-author, which means multiple people can edit this document at the same time. To move back to our document library, in the top left-hand corner, we just select the site name and it will take us back to our document library as you've seen here. And again, we'll see that any updates have been applied. Now, what we can do is we can basically create any new document here. So what we can do is we can go up here and maybe create a new Word document. So what this will do, it will throw us into Word Online and allow us to create a new document. So if we put some text in here and then allow that to save, you'll see that we get an indication at the top here that it has now been saved. Go back to my document library here. You'll see that I have a new document here that's just called document.docx. Okay, so that was modified a few seconds ago, and our bikes has been edited a minute ago. So again, nice and easy to create and work with Office documents. Now, if we want to work with non-Office documents such as PDFs or whatever, if we click on them, they will be downloaded for us to execute or to edit in an application that is on our local desktop. Now, what I can do quickly if I want to is if I want to work with an individual file, I can simply select the check mark to the left of that file. You'll see that that file is then highlighted. You'll also notice that the menu across the top changes automatically. So I can open that directly in Excel Online or open it on Excel in my desktop there. I can choose to share that document with others. So again, I have that option to be able to go in and share just by putting in an email address or potentially providing a link for the user to come in without needing a login. You'll see that I also get the ability to download the file, to delete it, and a number of additional options, including this option here, pin to the top. Now, if I choose to pin to the top, obviously what it allows me to do is moves that document to the top of my document library, puts it into a tile format, and basically allows me a greater focus on that file. I can also choose potentially to move that file if I want to move that file to another location. Okay, so I can move it to a new folder. So what I can do here is I will create a folder, create that, and then it will then move that document into that location for me. So check that. We'll then move that document in there. Okay, and again, if we now look at this, you'll see that that Excel bikes file has disappeared from the top level, but if I go into folder, you'll see that it is now displayed there. So again, easy way to create folders. If I want to create folders manually, I can go in here and do that as well. I can also, for example, synchronize files to my desktop. So if I go back in here, you'll see that the other options I've got is I can also copy it, I can rename it, I can look at the version history, so every time that I edit a document, it is automatically versioned. I can check it out, which means that I can mark it for my exclusive access, and I can also set up an email alert. So what that means is that I can set up a situation so that when the file is changed in any way, shape or form, I receive email notification of that change. So I'm again able to go in and see what updates have been made. Now, with an individual file selected, you'll see that I have in the top right here the option here called One Selected. But if I select the Details panel now, you'll notice that I get a preview of that file if at all possible, typically with Word documents, and I'll get the ability here to go in and, for example, edit the title or the name of the file directly simply by clicking on those fields. I'll see the recent activity, I'll see who it's shared with, and I'll see information about that file. So again, it's simple, very matter to turn this panel on and off simply by clicking the eye icon up the top here. Now, what I can also do is, you'll see at the top of each column, I can go in here and I can easily select and maybe go newer to older, so it'll sort my files automatically for me. I can also go in here and maybe filter by a certain date, or I can group by, for example, the modified time. So what I'll do is I'll break it out for me if that makes sense. If I need to clear that, I just unselect that. Nice and easy. And again, the way that we can work with the columns is by selecting the column settings. We can rename, move to the right, hide the column, and if we want, we can also add an additional column. Now, the other way that we can add an additional column here is to go to the plus symbol over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add basically an option here to add a choice field. So I'll go down here and select more. You'll see that I'll make this a choice field. I will call this, for example, field, I will call this customer, and I will go in here and create 3 customer options, customer A, B, and customer C. All right, and then I will save that. Once I've done that, that will then appear in the list of columns available to my document library. So what I can do now, for example, is select this file, go into the panel over here, and you'll see that I get a field here called customer. If I now select that, I get the option for the drop-down options I created. So let's make this customer B. Okay, and let's go in and unselect that file and maybe go in and select this one and go in and change the customer here to customer A. Okay, so that will then update. You'll see that if I close this panel, those fields have updated in the column, so I can now see that information quickly and easily. Now, with that additional column, what I can do is I can now, for example, filter so that I'm only displaying fields that match the selection there. So I've selected to only show documents there that have customer A setting. I can do that also by, I can group by customer. So now that I have an additional option here, I can go in and allow that to be grouped for me. So let me do that, group by customer. So what it's doing now, as I said, there are 4 entries here which are unassigned, don't have a customer assigned to them. There are 2 that do, one for customer A and one for customer B. So I've been able to group those quickly and easily. And again, the way I can just go in and unselect those. Now what we've got also is the ability here to display our documents either as a list, which is the traditional way, or we can go in and look at the tiles. So again, gives us a preview if possible of our documents. When we select it, we get the same options as we did before in a list. And in this case, what we'll do is we will pin this to the top so you get a better idea. And again, I can then arrange this basically any way I want, and then unselect this, and let's go back to a list here. Okay, so again, we have now the ability to pin documents directly to the top of our document library. So this has been a quick overview of the new interface for document libraries in SharePoint Online. Quick summary is that we have our menu across the top, allows us to create new documents, new folders in our library. We can obviously upload files and folders now. We can also, for example, put our library into quick edit, which is like a spreadsheet mode. We can go in and quickly, for example, set this perhaps to customer C, and then go done. Save our updates, and you'll see that customer C is now set there for us. We also get the ability to set up email alerts, as we have always been able to do. Over here, we can swap from a list view to a tile view quickly. Again, we can bring up the information panel so that if we do select a file, we will get the information about that file, a preview if it is possible. And you'll see that we can also go in here and add anything to our custom fields, and you'll see that we update it in our list automatically. So again, if you're looking for the details on the file, don't forget to go in here and select the details panel. Down the bottom here, we also have the ability now to pin documents to the top of our document library to allow us to focus on those documents, as well as the traditional list as we've always had. Going over a column will give us the ability to sort and filter, that we can again do that based on the characteristics of the column. Typically what we want to do is we want to normally go in and add additional columns known as metadata to help us better describe these files, and I've done that with the customer field here, which I did quickly. And then you'll see what I can do is I can quickly filter the files based on that criteria to allow me to find that information readily. Okay, so they're the basics of working with the updated interface for document libraries with SharePoint Online.